soul-charged journey of courage, clarity, and inner peace. Our guest, Gargi Sen, isn't just a successful lawyer in NYC. She's the fierce force behind the Unsquashable Girl, a powerful movement helping women rise from the ashes of dysfunctional relationships and reclaim their worth. From Delhi to New York, from silence to strength, Gargi's story is one of transformation, and today we are talking about how finding inner peace can literally heal your health. So, Gargi, you have built a powerful brand, no doubt, encouraging women to rewrite the stories. So, what did your first step toward inner peace look like?
Thank you, Simon, for having me. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Gargi Sen. I'm actually from India, but I now live in New York City. I'm a lawyer here. And I realized that until I could step out of abusive and dysfunctional relationships, everyone who was causing me emotional pain, I could not find inner peace. So my central message is through Unsquashable Girl. Find it on Instagram or any other social media. And my central message to everyone is have the courage to step out of abusive and dysfunctional relationships. Seek a better life. And that way you can change the ending of your story. In other words, you don't have to stay with family that is abusing you. You don't have to stay in a marriage that is making you sad 90% of the time. You don't have to put up with relatives who are constantly harassing you or dismissing you or disrespecting you. When you step out of these relationships which are bringing you down and you release the weight that we carry a lot as Indian and Indian women to think that we have to save the relationship no matter how bad it is. Once you release the weight that you don't have to save relationships that are dysfunctional, that are toxic, that are making you feel bad every day about yourself and your life, you reach. That is the first step towards inner peace. That realization that you don't have the weight on your shoulders to save relationships that are bad for you. Does that make sense?
That completely makes sense. So, how did that emotional shift affect your physical well being?
Well, the thing is when you stay in relationships, and mostly I speak to a lot of women and men in India, and they always tell me, well, I put up with this because he is or she is my family. They're my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my father. So I put up with abuse. Basically, abuse is normalized and dysfunction is normalized because they're family. What are the physical side effects of putting up with abuse? I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. I had a friend when I met her. She used to be a director in one of the top companies, um, hospitality companies. And she was putting up with a lot of abuse from her husband. And I kept saying to her that she needs to leave, but she didn't. This is what happened, it affected her self esteem. And by that, I mean, slowly she lost the capability to love herself. Her physical impacts were things like obviously sadness, so depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear about going back home and what this other person will say or do. And in the end, she lost all confidence in herself. She lost her job. She started to have like anxiety, depression, heart palpitations. So there's a lot of physical health impacts to putting up with relationships that are bad for you. And I don't think we've made the connection yet, because the sooner we make this connection of, once I have relationships or I'm swallowing the pain. I like to say I'm swallowing, when I'm in an abusive or dysfunctional relationship that is disrespecting me, I'm basically swallowing poison. So when you swallow poison, something is going to go wrong, right? So the things that go wrong is your mental health goes down and your physical well-being goes down because of your mental health concerns. You may have digestive gut issues, you feel yourself, you have heart palpitations, you mentally, you feel depressed, you have anxiety. So that's why I say inner peace, you cannot cultivate inner peace if you are getting poisoned every single day. So I'm encouraging all of you to really look at those relationships and say that even if they're family, if they're hurting me, I deserve inner peace. So I would want to step out of that.
It's incredible, actually, Gargi, that how mental liberation often reflects in our body too, like a nervous system finally exhaling, right?
Yeah. The nervous system really takes the hit. And we all grew up thinking that as women, self sacrifice is such an amazing concept that I grew up with as well, because I grew up in India. Women are encouraged to be sacrificial for the family. I've met so many women who are saying, I'm putting up with it for my family. What does that mean? What's the other side of that? That means you have given up on yourself. You don't love yourself at all. And do you think you can ever have a healthy family? Do you think your kids can be happy? You can be happy in a relationship where you're in danger or you're being belittled, disrespected, abused, kicked every day? The sooner you make that connection, that once you develop your inner peace and you're able to get yourself to safety, your external reality also becomes better. The sooner you begin to love yourself enough to say you don't deserve to stay in such relationships, the sooner you will realize that a better future, a better life, a healthier family, happier kids, all of that is possible. But if you don't believe it's possible, you will continue to stay in the mess and you will continue to tolerate things that are not good for you.
Exactly, so many of us needed to hear this today.
Yeah, and I'm hoping more and more women are encouraged, and men too are encouraged to say enough is enough. Like, family does not have
Mhm.
a free pass to abuse you. All the elders, everything the elders say is not right. Take it from me. I came from India and I moved to New York City and I've realized this. Everything, like, we have such a
Mhm.
culture of respect. Like, anything, we don't want to
Mhm.
upset the elders. We don't want to ever go against our parents. We don't want to speak up. But let me tell you, the price you're paying is very high, especially if you are in a relationship, in a family that is not respecting you, your dreams, your wishes, where you want to be in life. So I encourage you to start to think that a better life is possible, because really, Simon, you asked me what is the first step. The first step is to really mentally understand that a better life is possible. If you keep thinking this is my life, this is my fate, I can never get out of it because this is the family I was born into or this is the man I married, you will not get out of it. You will be stuck. The first thing, even if you can't do anything today or tomorrow, the first thing to do in your mind to develop internal peace is to say, I can get out of this. I may not know how right now, but in my mind, I'm going to start to visualize a better future. I'm going to start to visualize a life that looks different. I'm going to visualize an inner calm that I will have it one day. And even if you don't know how you will get there, the first thing is to remove the mental block that you can get there. So start dreaming of a better future. Start saying, okay, I'm in this right now, but this won't be my destiny forever. I have the power to change it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And the way you broke it down, you nailed it.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it encourages, if even if it encourages one person out there who's listening to this podcast, I will consider my mission to be successful. And if you need motivation, I just want to throw in there. If you need motivation, go look on at Unsquashable Girl. Like, every day I put up messages, reinforcing the fact that we as women, specifically women and also some men, we were not put on this earth to face abuse from our family members or from our husbands, our partners, our relatives, our bosses, or anybody. You were put on this earth to develop a higher consciousness. And to do that, to get to a place of inner peace is the first priority, because once you get to inner peace, the rest of life falls in place. Like, then you now think there's so many problems. Once you fix the internal part, the external reality mirrors that. A lot of, if you don't believe me, like, look at all the spiritual teachings. They all talk about, developing an inner peace. And inner peace doesn't mean you develop what I call bullshit tolerance, where you're like, oh, I'm going to be so strong that no matter what anybody says, I will put up with it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying develop inner peace where you reject people who are attacking you. Thank you. I
That's
hope
right.
that makes I hope that makes sense.
That completely makes sense. And I'm sure that's surely going to be beneficial for all our listeners out there. So, what was one belief you had to unlearn to begin your healing?
I think the biggest belief I had to unlearn, thank you for this question, first of all, because the biggest belief
Mhm.
I had to unlearn is that Well, I'm trying to find words that would resonate with everybody. I think the biggest thing is that
Hmm.
I didn't want to disappoint my family. So I had to unlearn that it is okay to disappoint some members of my family who did not care about how my inner peace was. And what I mean by that is they wanted to control me. They had their own agendas. They were saying they loved me, they cared for me. But basically, they loved and cared for me as long as I listened to everything they said. And as I decided that, I'm an adult woman, I should be able to decide where I want to live, where I want to work, how I want to live my life. So I think unlearning that it is not my responsibility to keep everyone in the family happy was one of my biggest breakthroughs.
That hits deep, we sometimes weigh survival like a badge of honor when peace is real pride, no?
Yeah, and I think that's where I want to really change how women think, because even now I speak to a lot of women from India, and they say that, they think it's a badge of honor that they put up with a bad husband, that their marriage is so long. Why are we celebrating long marriages if basically it meant that the woman had to kill her soul to stay in that marriage? I would rather celebrate a woman who left a marriage in like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 6 years to save her soul and inner peace. I would celebrate her than a person who's saying, look, I killed myself to stay in this marriage or in this relationship or in this family. So it is not a badge of honor for you to suffer. So if you can just get that idea in your head, it's not a badge of honor to make yourself suffer, because you are not winning the prize. The person who's winning the prize is the abuser, is the person who's harming you. What prize are you winning? You're spending a lifetime in sadness. So cultivate inner peace, make that a conscious effort. And the first thing you have to believe is, if you're in a bad situation, if you're with people who are harming you, and that could be anybody, that could be family, that could be a boyfriend, that could be, your husband, your relatives, your in laws, if they are mentally disturbing your peace, there is room for you to step away from that relationship slowly. I'm not saying you have to do it tomorrow, but slowly you can start spending less time with them. Slowly you can start telling them less about your life. You don't have to share every detail of your life with people who are going to use that information to harm you. You can slowly start declining invites. You can slowly start stepping away, and you will see, if you will see, just do that, you will see that your mental peace, your inner peace really goes, it really gets better as you step away from these relationships.
Absolutely, that's really noteworthy, Gargi. Now, let's talk about health. So, what role has self empowerment played in improving your physical energy?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think I have so much energy when I'm not dealing with people or relationships, toxic relationships. Your energy level really goes up. And this is a good segue for me to tell you how, because one of the things that I struggled with in the beginning is to understand, well, who are these people who are affecting my mental health, my inner peace? So, what I started doing is I created, you can do this too, take out a piece of paper and draw like a table on it with 3 columns. So, a table with 3 columns. The first column is I feel positive and happy. The second column is I feel neutral. And the third column is I feel sad, dejected, disrespected. And what you do in that every month in that same table, you start to put people in those columns. So I just met my aunt and she made me feel happy. Put her in the first column. Month of April, I met my aunt, she made me feel happy. I met my friend and I thought I'm going to have a really good time, but in the end I came back feeling really sad. So put him or her in the third
Mm-hmm.
column, made me feel sad. Then I met my
Mm-hmm.
boyfriend and I was hoping to feel really amazing, but I felt really neutral, like nothing, like it was a very boring. So put them in the middle column, and as you track month to month where the people are, I would encourage you to invest more time. Remember, I said in the previous sentence that invest more time in the relationships that are in the first column, which are the positive column. Oh, I met my
Mm-hmm.
aunt and she made me feel really happy, so I should meet her again. And then remember, you met your friend, you expected to feel happy, but she ended up in the third column, made you feel sad. So then you should reduce time with that person, and that's how slowly you reclaim your mental space by spending more time with the people who are in the first column who have made you happy, or in the second column, even like who are confused. So you don't know, you should probably meet that boyfriend again because it was like a neither here nor there type of meeting. But then you see over a period of time. I say see it over 3 months. Who makes you feel more happy? Who is ending up in the first column? Because your feelings don't lie, your body doesn't lie. When you meet someone, when someone's call come through on your phone, or a text comes, or a phone call comes, which one do you want to pick up? Which one you feel like picking up? Like, if you feel like I want to speak to this person, they should go in the first column. They make me feel happy. Something about their voice, something about their text, something about the prospect of meeting them makes you happy. Okay, put them in the first column. Which are the ones which are making you, oh, I don't want to take that phone call right now, oh, he's going to scream at me, or she's going to be mad at me? Put them in the third column. Oh, they make me feel negative. And then there are some people who always invariably, I call it the middle column, watch this space, who are like confusing you. Put them in the middle. And then, to develop inner peace, over time, over 3 months, you start focusing on the first column, the people who make you feel happy, calm, serene. They're good for your mental health. They leave you feeling better. You want to take their phone call, you want to take their text. So, this is a very practical method that I have implemented in my life, just to keep this small diary. And over 3 months, I see where people are ending up. And as life goes on, I focus more and more on giving more of my time, more of my energy, more of my attention to the people who are in the first column, who leave me feeling peaceful, calm, serene, happy. And then, as slowly and slowly, you will see, as you fill your life with more of the people in the first column, your inner peace is 3 months from now. If you do this, today is April. You want to do this in 3 months. In July, you can write me a note to unsquashablegirl@gmail.com and tell me if your life is not better. Your life will be better once you start following this routine of putting people in certain groups and focusing on groups that are good for your mental health.
That completely makes sense. So, what will you say to the woman who knows she's stuck, but fears being alone or starting over?
So, courage is crucial. If you want to start over, courage is one of the biggest things. I think most women don't leave because they're fearful of the unknown, and they are hopeful that some things will change if they stay patient, if they are good. I grew up to be called a good girl in India. You just have to be a good girl, which means you basically have to be patient and put up with
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. So, so,
Mm-hmm.
so my encouragement is, please be patient with yourself as you try to build a new life for yourself. Instead of being patient with the abuser or the person harming you or hurting you, flip it. Be patient with yourself as you try a new way of life. Embrace fear, because fear is part of the equation. If you're feeling stuck and you want to unstuck yourself, you will fear. Obviously, that's going to happen. So instead of saying, I'm so fearful, I will freeze, you can say, I will feel fearful, but I'll still walk through what I need to walk through. So, a good example of that is, if you use this diary method that I said, you will start to prioritize things that are important to you, people that are important to you. So, put them in the first column, see who belongs. And then, if you're stuck, remember I said at the beginning of this podcast, the first thing to realize is that it is possible to change. Because I've met many people, men and women, who start by saying, okay, I'm stuck in this family. I don't see a better future. Well, if you don't consider that you can move or make, you're not a tree, you can move, you can make a difference in your life. But if you believe at your core that nothing can be changed, then nothing can be changed. But if you believe at your core that living a life where you don't wake up feeling happy, living a life where you have no inner peace, living a life where you're putting up with people or circumstances or situations that are bad for you is not your destiny, immediately mentally you start to get unstuck, and steps will come to you. The next best step will come to you, but it will not come to you if you've already believed that you are stuck, if you've already believed that nothing better can happen.
There's such beauty in becoming like our own safe space first, right? Like a rebirth into authenticity.
Yeah, you have to prioritize yourself. At the bottom of it, if you ask me, if what do I wish someone had told me when I was growing up in India, to kind of unlearn some of the things that I had learned, like, to be a good girl, to put up with people who are behaving badly, to speak softly if
Mhm,
someone's screaming at me,
mhm,
to always respect my elders, to never say no to family, to always forgive family members. Like, if I could just unlearn some of those things, I would learn to love myself. And I would learn to prioritize my inner peace. Good. It's a good thing you brought this up because I'm actually writing a book about all the things I learned that I wished I had known sooner that helped me, walk away from a very toxic family into this new life in New York. And it's possible. If there's nothing else I can leave you with, I want to leave you with this thought. Well, look out for my book. That's going to come out soon, and that can give you more step to step ideas of how to move from a toxic stuck space to a life where you have inner peace. But at least if there's nothing else that you want to take away or can take away, do it for a few months. Just do this diary that I told you about. Write down in 3 columns who are the people who are bringing you peace, who are the people who leave you confused, who are the people who negatively impact you in every interaction, and try to minimize that. Try to minimize those people even if they're family, and you will see that your life begins to change for the better. And when your life begins to change for the better, when you have a little bit more inner peace, you will be able to see that you're not stuck, that a better life is possible, that all the sacrifices you thought you had to make to be a good girl or to be accepted or to be loved, those sacrifices, if they're hurting your mental health, are not worth it. And you have the power to change the ending of your story.
mhm. Sometimes sharing our cracks is exactly what lets a light flood into someone else's darkness, right?
Yes, and that's why I love to share my story. I encourage you to check out Unsquashable Girl. You can also go to unsquashablegirl.com. You can see that I've written uh, articles about leaving toxic spaces. I have walked through this path. I have walked through darkness. I understand what you're going through. If you're stuck today and you're feeling, I'm stuck in this situation, in this family, in this marriage, in this life where I don't have any inner peace. Believe me, I was there one day. And that's why I'm speaking to you today. That's why I wanted to be part of this podcast, to tell you it's possible for you to change your life. It's possible to achieve inner peace. But there is one thing that's going to be required from you, and that is self love, which means you say, I will prioritize things that are good for me, people that are good for me, situations that are good for me, relationships that are good for me, you know, even places that are good for me, and slowly detach from things, places, people who are not good for you. So there is going to be some effort required on your part, is what I'm trying to say. It's not going to happen just by praying. I want to bust that myth. If you just pray, it's not going to go away. You have to take some, you do something and then God does the rest. Remember that saying we learned in school? You do your part and then God will do the rest. You have to
Mhm.
do your part to step out of a place that you feel stuck, to step away from people who hurt you.
That's remarkable. What a radiant, raw, and real conversation with the unsquashable Gargi Sen. And for all our listeners, remember your peace isn't just a luxury, it's your birthright and it's a first step to a healthier, freer life. Until next time, breathe deep, live true, and keep choosing yourself. And Gargi, your soul is in bloom. Keep spreading your light and wisdom, and I would be delighted to have you back on the show for another conversation.
Thank you so much. It was so great being part of the show to talk about inner peace and to speak to a worldwide audience. Please follow Unsquashable Girl. Find me on the web, unsquashablegirl.com. Feel free to email me, unsquashablegirl@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing your stories about how you moved from a place or where you feel stuck to where you started to change the ending of your story. Wish you the best. Namaste.